This video is about how many pairs of earrings can we make from one necklace. What do you think? And if you're new here, I'm Vicki. Welcome to the channel. If you're coming back, thank you for that too. Today we're going to upcycle one necklace into, well, if you saw the title and the thumbnail of the video, you know we are going to make 8 pairs of earrings and 1 bracelet. Let's get started. I have a really long necklace here. Can you tell on camera? Can you tell how long it is? And this necklace came from Nancy, one of our subscribers. This was in the last haul that she sent me in late 2025. Thank you again, Nancy. Really appreciate it. Been having so much fun with everything. And I thought that these beads are just so beautiful that we would take this necklace apart and see how many pairs of earrings we can make and maybe how many different styles we can make from this one very long necklace. So let's take a close look at this. This is on a very fine 2-strand, and it looks like metallic thread at the very least. It's very different. It is knotted at the beginning and the end of each section of beads, so we need to take that apart. But first thing we need to do is to go ahead and detach the clamshell that was used. And I'll probably upcycle that at some point, but let's take a couple pairs of pliers and open up the jump ring. Set that aside. Never know when I might use it. I'm going to open up the clamshell. Maybe, if I can get a hold of it here. Well, I can do that later. Can do it later. Right now, I just want to get down to where all these beads are. So I'm going to cut underneath the knot and start sliding the beads off. Very, very tiny beads. Again, knotted in between. So I'll play some music while I take this apart. Shouldn't take too long. Missed a few. Can't leave any behind. I want to have every single bead available. And again, this is just a metallic thread. It's very different. And a couple of clamshells and a lobster clasp. The beads from the original necklace are pretty small, so I guess you could say these are small, petite, or minimalist earrings. Most of the spacer beads are silver, so I'm going to work with some silver head pins. I've got 2-inch head pins, which are probably longer than what I need. In fact, I'm going to check and see if I have any shorter ones. I do have some head pins that have a little bead instead of flat, and I have some eye pins. So let's think about what we have here and how many we have of each. I'm going to separate everything by like bead so that I can find out if I even have enough. And I can see already that although the necklace was very long, it was mostly this thread separating the beads. So not a lot. Do you see what's happening? 3, 3, 3. Do you see a problem with making a pair? 3. I didn't expect that. Two of these. Yep, didn't expect that. Didn't look at it that close, just thought how pretty it was. And honestly, that was a very long necklace made with just a few beads, so you could do the same thing too. You could make a long necklace using that thread. I'm just going to keep working here till I see what we have, and then we'll get started. I'm going to separate the spacer beads from the actual beads. And these very tiny, probably 2mm rondelles, and I will measure these and let you know what they are when we get to where we'll be using them. So just bear with me here. We are down to a few bead caps, just a couple of rhinestone rondelles. It's amazing how I thought there were a lot more of those in there, and there really are only a few. We might need to add a few beads to this upcycle, although I'm going to try my best to work with what we have here. That's it. That's it. Oh my gosh. I'm like stumped here. There really aren't a lot of beads left after taking the necklace apart. It was mostly that silver metallic thread, but we're just getting started. My eyes go directly to these round beads first. They're so gorgeous. They're clear on the outside with white and red and green on the inside. These ones here have the silver and different colors inside. Some green and gold. I know we can get a couple pairs of earrings here, a couple here. Trying to pick out the ones that look the most alike. So I'm lining up here a few pairs of earrings. These don't match very well. They're very different, so I don't think we can do anything with those. But these two colors match. But for sure, we can get at least 7 pairs of earrings. That's not too bad. Have any ideas for me? It can be challenging to take something apart and then immediately try to upcycle it into something else. But the beads are beautiful, so I think we'll come up with something. Let's start with the most basic style, just working with 2 head pins. And let's start out with these beads here. I think I will put a little silver bead on the bottom and then tiny little crystal rondelles. And I did say I was going to tell you what size these are. I was guessing 2, but they're actually 3mm. The larger rondelle, I'm going to say 5. Nope, it's actually 6. It's in between 5 and 6. But it's 6 for the sake of this video. Then we have these cubes that are 5, and the round bead is 12mm. And if you need a template, I have a link for this in my Amazon affiliate store for Avante jewelry, and there's a QR code on the screen. Let's add the red beads. I'm just going to build these 2 at a time. I tell you what though, I kind of like the idea of adding these little bead caps at the top and bottom of the round bead. That looks pretty. We don't actually need the silver bead at the bottom. We could just go straight to the head pin. So I'm going to back off here and eliminate the silver bead. Go directly to the red bead. Sorry, I got off camera. Start with the red bead, then the bead caps, the round beads, and 2 more bead caps. And let's add the little 4mm rondelle, the little glass one here. And I think I'll just call these pretty just like they are. I mean, we could make them longer. We could do a 2 bead over the head pin or stack red beads. Let's just take a look. If we were to stack more crystals here. There you go. That's one idea. Definitely pretty. Makes a longer earring. Or we could just go with this here. Could finish off with a silver bead on top as our last bead before we add an ear wire. I think I like those. I'm going to stop right here. Get a couple of ear wires. Set these aside. Now all we have to do is push the beads down. Put my thumbnail on that top bead and bend that 90 degrees. I cut down to about 3/4 inch. Wires flush. Get a hold of it. Pull towards yourself as you roll back and then close it up. We have a nice little loop. Do the same thing here. Press the beads down. Bend this at a right angle. Trim it down to 3/8 of an inch. Wires flush. Roll it back. Using my chain nose pliers, I'm just going to open up the loop on the earring itself. Add the pretty little earring. These are beautiful. Look at that. Oh my gosh. I mean, they were pretty in the necklace, but they make gorgeous earrings. Those beads are just stunning. Love the first pair of earrings. And remember, I'm going to ask you to vote. And what does vote mean? It just simply means leave a comment. Let me know and everyone else know which pair or pairs of earrings is your favorite. That's how you vote in your comment. Earrings, pair number 1. And we'll recap these at the end. Let's make another pair. I mentioned that these beads have a silver lining. Well, these are dichroic glass beads. I'll put it on the screen here if you don't know how to spell it. They have a foil lining and different colors inside, and they're just gorgeous. And depending on what side they fall on when you're wearing them, they're going to look different. So the front and back is completely different. Let's see what we can do with these. Let's go with the eye pin and see what we can come up with. Add the bead. And of course the eye pin's going to stop it so that it doesn't go through, so we don't really have to put a bead at the bottom. Now I notice this one, the hole is drilled a little off center, so let's go for another one. See if they match up pretty good, and they do. Now this one has a larger hole in the bottom, so the eye pin is going up through it a little more, so I'm going to turn that upside down so that they match on the bottom. Okay, that the eye pin looks the same on the bottom. It's got a larger hole there. Let's pull in some of our small beads. How about this rhinestone rondelle? It's so tiny. How tiny is it, you ask? How about, whoops, how about 4 millimeter? That's how tiny it is. But let's add that to the top of this bead. That will help cover that hole that was a little bit larger. And then let's go with the rondelle, the larger rondelle out of the two. This one is opaque and this one is more translucent. But that's what we have. And then add a small silver bead at the top. Okay, I think we are good there. But as you can see, we've got this loop at the bottom, so we need to add something there. I'm not sure what that something's going to be yet. Not really sure. I'm thinking on that. But for now, we're going to finish off the top part of the earring. And then we'll figure out what's going to dangle from it. Because when you got a loop at the bottom, you want something to dangle. So push the beads down, bend it at a right angle. These eye pins are stiffer than my 2-inch head pins. I'm just trimming this down to 3/8 of an inch, thereabouts. Wires flush, get a good grip. Pull towards and roll back. Close it up. Make sure it's closed all the way. And there's our loop. Went just a little bit oval. Just a little bit. It's okay, as long as they match. These are very, very stiff. So I'm having to work a little harder. Just a little bit. And then I'm going to pull this back and straighten it up. Make sure it's closed. Using my chain nose pliers, open the loop sideways on the ear wire. Attach the earring. As pretty as they are, we have the eye of the eye pin at the bottom, and we need to dangle something. Do we want to go to a different shape just to make it interesting? I have these little ball head pins. Let's put one of these through. I'll tell you what would happen if we added a little daisy spacer at the top and bottom just to bring in a little bit of silver. Do we want that at the bottom? Nope, I don't think so. What if we just do the glass cube? Now, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to get a hold of this at the very, very tip of my round nose pliers. I'm going to bend it at a right angle. That's what we have, just bent at a right angle. And then I'm going to get a hold of this and roll this back towards me. That's what we have. And then I'm just going to get a hold of this again at the top and that little loop that we made, and angle this down. Okay, I'm going to switch tools. I'm going to my flat nose pliers, and I'm going to take this wire and cross it over. So this is what I have. Before I go any further, I better get this inserted into the loop at the bottom of the earring, because what we're preparing to do here is to wrap this. I think I'll switch to my chain nose so that I can get a hold of this. This is what it looks like. So I'm going to use the chain nose pliers right here, hold on to my loop, keep the top of the earring out of the way, and then take my flat nose pliers and get a hold of the end of this, and we are going to just wrap this around. You can do it in short wraps, just wrapping it around. Wrap it around, drop it, pick it up again, changing the direction of my wrist, and wrapping it around, drop it, and wrap it around. Till I have about 3 wraps. And then we'll call it. I still have the tail on here, the end of the wire to cut. So I'm going to take my cutters here, and I'm going to get as close as I can to the bead itself and cut that. It's sticking out. We don't want it to stick out. So I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to kind of press it down, kind of rotate and press it down so that it's not sticking out. At the same time, trying not to smash or break my little cube. I think we've got it. Let's take a look at this one before we go any further. This is what we have. I need to close my loop up a little bit, but we have all different shapes, the roundel, the oval, and the cube. So it's more of an artsy earring, I would say, but I am going to close up my loop at the top just a little more. I think it needs to be pulled back slightly and closed up because my little bead at the top wants to slide up into it. So that's a good sign it's not closed enough. Sometimes you can just give it a pinch. Don't want that last little bead sliding up into your loop. Okay, one down. Let's take another ball pin, head pin, and another cube. Got the cube. I'll try to go through this slowly again. Just taking the very, very tip of my round nose pliers, just barely there. Push it at a right angle. So you have this. Place this in here and bend this opposite direction and around till we have something like this. I didn't go very far when I pushed it around. I'm just going to go around like that. That's what I have. I'm going to go ahead and slip this through the eye pin. Slip it around until it's in there. Then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers. You can wrap towards yourself or away. Really doesn't matter. But you need a little bit of room here on this head pin to wrap around. Let's just... starting at the top, going around, trying not to overlap it. Just going side by side. I don't know why I'm bending the end of this so much this time, but I am. I'm just going for 3 wraps. These are very thin head pins, so they bend easy. Okay, but that's kind of what you want. All right, I think it's gone as far as I need it to go. I've got 3 wraps there. Cut that close as I possibly can. Straighten that out a little bit. Maybe just get a hold of it as close as I can. It's probably going to fall. And then take my chain nose pliers and press that wire down. Just going to kind of rotate it. Just kind of pressing it down. Trying not to break my little glass cube. Okay, I think I've got it. I've got it. Take a look at these. All these different shapes that we've used. There you go. There's our earrings. Aren't those pretty? Very unique. One of a kind, as I like to say. And of course, depending on how they fall, you know, the pattern's slightly different on the front versus the back. And I love the fact that we have all the different shapes. And when you do this, I wouldn't expect everyone to turn out exactly the same. I am going to try to straighten up the cube just a little bit though. This is what, you know, would be considered more artisan earrings because of that simple little wire wrapping. Not necessary, but it gives it another look. So there you go. Pair number 2. What else can we make? If you're enjoying this video, I appreciate a thumbs up, you know, a like, and be sure to comment. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe. And keep watching, there's more. What about these round ones? You know, it's really surprising actually that they use this color with the red. Even though it looked beautiful together, it's not something I would have picked. I may have to add something else to these beads, but we'll see. Let's just go ahead and start with 2 2-inch head pins and put a small round bead at the bottom. These look like they could be great boho style earrings, just kind of rustic. You can use the bead cap. I don't think we need it for any of the other earrings. And we've got a whole bunch of these daisy spacers here. What would happen if we just stacked some of these? I'll show you in just a second here. I'm trying to stack 5. Oh, look at that. Wow. What if we keep going? That's 6. And then what if we add just a round bead at the top? Oh, I like those. Look how simple those were. Gosh, they just look so earthy, you know, boho. I can see these with some khaki tan pants or a skirt. Oh, I like that. Could have used a larger bead at the top. And I guess I could add one of mine, but I'm going to go with these. Yeah, I like it. I like these a lot. Who knew? Be so quick and easy. While I make these earrings, I'll play some music for you. Let's take a look at these. These are really cool. And you could do these in any color of bead. You know, I forgot to tell you what size this is, or did I show you? I don't remember. These are pretty large. These are 12 millimeter. 12 millimeter, but look how cool those are. And all we did was use a small bead at the bottom, a round bead, a bead cap, some stacked daisy spacers, and a little round bead at the top. That's all we did, and I love them. I love these. Pair number 3. 3 pairs down, but we still have some more beads to upcycle, so keep watching. We haven't tried this shape. They also have large holes, so we've got to be aware of that. Do you see how large that hole is there versus here? So one end, you know, these are glass beads, so we've got a small end and a larger end. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just go with 2 2-inch head pins. We've got to put something here to make sure that the head pin doesn't go through. And of course it makes sense to put the smaller hole at the bottom to definitely ensure that the bead doesn't go through. Let's just do the small round bead and a couple of daisy spacers to act as little stoppers on the bottom. Smallest hole on the bottom. That's what we have. And then let's see what we can do here. Well, let's put a daisy spacer at the top. Oh, do you see what happened here? It's kind of going at a diagonal. I don't know if we can do this or not. Let's try a cube bead. Interesting. But I think I need this opaque rondelle. Add another daisy spacer. I do think we need these round rondelles. The top of the bead, or the larger hole of the bead, is slightly crooked. It's probably hand-blown bead, and the bead is not perfectly flat at the top. So I'm going to stick with this. Still very pretty. So anything else we want to do? Do we want to add another little crystal here? Take a look in a second. Getting a little longer. What happens? You know, I have plenty of daisy spacers. What if we add another daisy spacer here? And then the little bead, or the red bead crystal. I'm just playing. Ooh, That's different. Let's see here. Let's go back and add another daisy spacer here. And then the rondelle and the small round bead. And I'll show them to you. This is what I have. What do you think? I've used a couple of daisy spacers, a couple of rondelles. I think I'm going to go with it. Going to be a little bit longer earrings. And that's just fine. A couple of ear wires. And we'll get these put together here.
Hey, it's magical, what you up to? Can I have a minute of your time? You want me to turn my heel and forget you? All I know, it can't be done. I'm only asking once, would you let me take a minute of your time? You might just be surprised at where it gets you. All I know, I'm in it for the ride. But you don't care if you hurt me.
Here's our earrings. Let's take a look at these. Our fourth pair of earrings from the original necklace. There you go. I tell you, it's these beads right here, these beautiful glass beads that make it. But all the beads are very, very pretty. That's pair number 4, but we need to make some more. We have these again. One side is a hole slightly larger than the other. That's what we've got. Let's see what we can do with these. Putting the larger hole at the top. I don't know if I need a small bead at the bottom or not. Oh, yes I do. Did you see that? I'll show you. It went right through there. Pulled right through. So always check it first. We do need a small round bead at the bottom. And we've got daisy spacers, so let's go with them. Again, making sure the small hole, smallest of the two, is at the bottom. And then we have these little rhinestone rondelles, but you can see also in these that it's not really covering the larger hole and it went a little bit crooked. So let's try the daisy spacer. Maybe we want to do something similar as we did with another pair and stack some daisy spacers. Kind of take the eye away from that. We've got 6 stacked daisy spacers. No harm in using the same idea. If it works, it works. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's make them a little longer, shall we? I want 8. Nope, I'm going to go back to 6. Count them. Oh, I've got one too many. I've got 7. What do we have on here? 3. I've got 6. Maybe instead of the round bead at the top, what happens if we add a little crystal? Ooh, look at that. Or maybe we want the larger rondelle. Let's see here. I don't know. Which one do you like? I think I like the larger rondelle. Still not 100% sure if I'm going to completely keep this, but what happens if we put that on top? I don't know. I'm just getting carried away here. Or what if we put a rhinestone rondelle in between? What happens if we do that? Ooh, look at that. That's different. I still have the, the large hole in that bead, but that's definitely different versus this without the rhinestone rondelle. I like them both, but I want to use the rhinestone rondelle, so we're going to use it. That's what we're doing. So we want each pair to look different, even if they're using similar beads. I guess you could say we're building a collection. That's what we're doing. We're making a collection. They all have the common colors and shapes, but completely different. Oh, I didn't put a silver bead at the top. And you know what? That's okay. I can get by without doing it. Are you ready to take a look at these? I know I am. These are another one-of-a-kind pair. They're all one of a kind. No one will ever have another pair like these. Look at those. There's something about these. I'm going to close up that loop a little bit. There's something about these that make me think of I Dream of Jeannie. Like a little genie bottle. Oh my gosh. Love them. Hope you love them too. Because this is pair number 5. 5 pairs of earrings down, but I said that we made 8 total, plus the bracelet. And of course, one of the pairs of earrings is going to go with the bracelet, but
yeah, we've got some more to make.
Let's go back to these. I'm trying to remember what these are called. What are these? I know what they are. I just couldn't think of the word carnelian. I don't even know if I can say it right. Carnelian? Yeah, that's it. We've got 2 of these. These would actually lend themselves very well to a gold head pin and gold ear wire. They would, but I've got silver spacer beads, so let's just go with silver. Let's just keep doing it here. So we have these. Well, you know what? I'm going to get a couple of eye pins. A couple of little eye pins, and let's see what we can do. No daisy spacer. Let's just add the carnelian bead. Stone. It's stone. That's what we've got. And we'll worry about the dangle in a minute. Let's just keep building the top of the earring, a small daisy spacer. And I apologize if I didn't say, but these daisy spacers are 5mm. Daisy spacer. What do we have left here to work with? We've got the small round red rondelle. I don't think the cube's going to look right, but I'm going to try it. No. I'm so tempted to introduce another bead, but at the same time, I've done so well with sticking with what we have here that I'm just going to go with this and add a small round bead at the top. I do have 2 rhinestone rondelles left over here that I could use for the last pair. So let's just really try in this little challenge that I've set up here to stay with only the beads from the original necklace. Why did I put a cube on there? Because I'm talking while I work. Going with the red and the rusty orange. I don't have a lot of room left. Whoops. I don't have a lot of room left at the top, but we have enough to bend it. Now these eye pins are heavier gauge than my 2-inch, so that was a little harder to bend, but not impossible. I'm not going to be able to make my loop as large as I normally do. I'm going to go down a little shorter here and hope that I can make my loop and not run out of head pin. If I do, I'll just get another one. That little bead is wanting to go up to the top and make it slightly more oval than round on occasion. This is one of those occasions because I don't have a lot to work with. Not trimming anything off.
You called me early morning, it was up, babe.
Who's going to notice, right? Have you ever had anybody say, well, your earrings are pretty, but I can tell that your loop on them just isn't perfect. If someone says that to you, well, maybe they're not really your friend. Or maybe they're just a perfectionist and say, well, you know what? You can make them any way that you would like. You can shape that loop any way you would like and move on to the next subject. That's what I do these days. When I get comments that I just am a little bit shocked by, well, I just move on. And so do they. All right, we're almost done, but we have a loop at the bottom. Just have to put something on it. Well, that something could be one of these cubes. We did the cubes on this pair and tempted to put them on here too. Or what else could we do? Got to remember, I have one more pair that I like to make. I know I want to try to use these rhinestone rondelles. Now, maybe it's time now to start thinking about what I'm going to reserve for the last pair. Just set some beads aside. We're doing so good though, aren't we? Using these beads up, and I still have all of those. Okay, I'll do it again. I don't do a lot of wire wrapping. Most of the jewelry I make, I just don't think it's necessary at all. But I will do another one here. Got 2 little ball head pins. We have a small round bead on the bottom already. Going to put a small round bead at the top. Let's do a little more because we have some more of these daisy spacers left. Let's add a daisy spacer, then the cube, and another daisy spacer, and then the round bead. I'm just trying to add a little more embellishment. Now the bottom ball of this little head pin kind of disappeared, but it's all right. We can still go with it. Let's build this one too, using a daisy spacer and the glass cube and a daisy spacer and the round bead. Hey, can I do this again? Can I? Push the beads down. I'm on the very tip of my round nose pliers. We're going to bend it to right angle. Then I'm just slipping it facing up and down and rolling the wire back towards me. That's what I have. And I may not be doing it 100% way that you do it, but I'm doing it this way. Okay, that's what I've got. We need to slide this on here before we go any further. Just slide it on here. This is what we have. I'm going to take my chain nose, get a hold of that, and then use my flat nose. And you'll find all my tools, as I said, in my Amazon affiliate store for Avante jewelry. Got to get that round bead to drop down. I can't hold this up to show you too much because that bead wants to roll up. So I'm going to pull this around, keeping it towards the top, wrapping from the top to the bottom, and you can see how soft this head pin is. I want to do 3 full wraps, almost there. I must have taken up more room with the beads that I added here because I'm not getting very many wraps. I mean, I'm getting my 3, but I don't have much left over is what I'm saying. Just take this wire that's left over here. Oh, it just broke off. Okay. I was going to cut it off anyway, as flush as I can, and press that down. Some people bring it towards themselves, some people roll it away. I'm kind of flattening it in the direction that it's wrapping. I think I've got it. Tiny little dangle. It. We've got it. But let me make sure this is hanging properly. I think it is. Let's get a display. I remember the order of all of these accumulating on my table. I got to keep them in order. There you go. Aren't those precious? We've got the rondelle, we've got the oval, and we have the little cube. So we have a variety of shapes. So if you're a person that likes geometrics, these would be the earrings for you. This is pair number 6, and we have one more pair, and then I need to make a decision here on which pair of earrings that I'm going to send to Nancy as a thank you, and which pairs are going to end up in our eBay store, Avante Avenue, Avante Jewelry, in our eBay store, Avante Avenues. Again, pair number 6. Let's make another pair. Well, I did set aside some beads to work with, so let's start with the little round bead at the bottom of our 2-inch head pin. And let's add a daisy spacer, just because we can. I don't know, I mean, one of these wasn't drilled perfectly straight, but I think we can make it work. What did I really like on some of these earrings today that I did? So I am changing these up. They may be similar to something else I made, but not exact. I'm not going to worry about using the rhinestone rondelle. I really like this stacked. I took a little break and I decided that the earrings that I was working on before my break, I'm just going to keep. And I ended up changing directions of what I wanted to do. I switched to making the bracelet and then a dainty pair of earrings to go with it. So keep watching. I decided instead of making the earrings, I would make Nancy a bracelet and a pair of earrings. I will be working in some of my round beads.
Sometimes the choices I made have been hard to understand. Better get ready, I'm ready. Better get ready, I'm ready. Ready to do all that I gotta do to So I look at my reflection instead. Oh, I see all them dreams running round in my head. I sold my soul enough to dreams of someone else. Do you believe when I tell you the dream has become who I am? Better get ready, I'm ready. Better get ready, I'm ready. Ready to do all that I gotta do to Voices in my head tell me you ain't got it. Oh no.
A little bit of extension chain. About 1.5 inches. I think Nancy's wrist is probably smaller. She probably doesn't need this extension chain at all, but I'm going to add a little bit. She can always take it off. When Nancy first started watching the videos, she didn't make jewelry, but she makes jewelry now. And I love that. It makes me feel good to think that my videos might have had a little bit, just a little bit of inspiration. All right, let's see if we can find a little charm to put on here. I have a little heart. I think the jump ring's a little bit big, so I might look for a smaller one. You know what? I'm going to take the jump ring from the original necklace. That's what we're going to do. Upcycle that jump ring. The thank you bracelet is done for Nancy. Let's make a quick pair of earrings. Just going to pick up some of the beads that were used in here. And this is just kind of random. How about that? Nice and petite. Nancy, you can always take the earrings apart and use the beads and make the style that you'd like, or change the ear wires, etc. I'm going to use post. I probably could have eliminated the silver bead at the bottom. Going to include the butterfly, earring back, and the silicone. Not meant to wear both of them, just one or the other. We did it. We did it. Let's take a closer look at all the earrings that we made, plus the bracelet, and be sure to take note of the number. You know, I number everything 1, 2, 3, etc. So take a note of that as you take a look at these, and then I'll see you after that. This is all we have left. You'll find all the earrings listed in our eBay store, Avante Avenue, as far as the bracelet and earrings. Well, I'm sending that to Nancy as a thank you because the original necklace that I started with came from one of the hauls that she sent me. So thank you very much, Nancy. If you enjoyed this video, appreciate that thumbs up, and thanks for watching. I'm Vicki, and I'll see you in the next video.